Welcome back to Bible Shorts, episode 106, Luke 12. Do not worry. Now, in our last episode, we ended with this statement. The scribes and the Pharisees became hostile to Jesus and began to interrogate him about many things, lying in wait for him to catch him in something he might say. So, what had Jesus done to upset them again? Well, a Pharisee had invited Jesus to dine with him, and so Jesus went in and took his place at the table. The Pharisee was amazed to see that Jesus did not first wash before dinner. This was not washing your hands to get them clean. It was a little ritual. 3 splashes of water over your hands and reciting a blessing. Then the Lord said to him, "Now you Pharisees clean the outside of a cup and a dish, but inside yourself you are full of greed and wickedness. You fools! Did not the one who made the outside make the inside also? Woe to you, Pharisees, for you give to the priests 1/10 of the mint and rue and herbs that grow in your garden, and neglect justice and the love of God. It is seeking justice and loving God you ought to have practiced without neglecting the other things." What? What is Jesus talking about? Well, he goes on and says more. Woe to you, Pharisees, for you love to have the seat of honor in the synagogues and to be greeted with respect in the marketplace. One of the experts in the law answered him and said, "Teacher, when you say those things, you insult us too." Jesus replied, "Woe also to you experts in the law, for you load people with burdens hard to bear, and you yourselves do not lift a finger to ease them." So what is Jesus saying? Well, I think he's saying that loving and following God is not just a checklist of things to do. Now, washing your hands as an act of thanks to God, as the Pharisees were doing, that's good. Giving 1/10 of your income to God, even 1/10 of the herbs that your wife is growing in your garden, that could be good too. But if you're only doing those things to show off, or you're cruel and mean to other people, you aren't truly honoring or loving God at all. Sometime later, a man said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide an inheritance with me." Jesus replied to him, "Who appointed me a judge between you and your brother?" Jesus said, "Watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. Do not worry about your life, what you'll eat, about your body, what you'll wear, for life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the birds. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable are you than the birds? Consider how the wildflowers grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you, not even King Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these." If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you? So do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it, For the world runs after all such things, and your Father in heaven knows that you need them. I think Jesus is reminding everyone that it is way too easy to spend all our time thinking and worrying and obsessing about how we can get more stuff. The latest jeans. Oh, the coolest, most expensive sneakers. The newest iPhone. Or worrying and worrying and worrying that we won't get into the college we have our heart set on. And adults can have problems too. They can get all worked up about having the most fabulous car or buying the biggest house possible. We can spend all our time and energy worrying, and obsessing about things that in the end are not as important as we think they are. Life is about more than that. It's about loving God and loving other people. Then on another Sabbath day, Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues, and a woman was there who had been crippled for 18 years. She was bent over and could not straighten up at all. When Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said to her, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Then Jesus put his hands on her, and immediately she straightened up and praised God. Indignant and upset because Jesus once more had healed someone on the Sabbath, the synagogue leader said to the people, "There are 6 days for work, so come and be healed on those days, not on the Sabbath." The Lord answered him, "You hypocrites! Doesn't each of you on the Sabbath day untie your ox or donkey from the barn stall and lead it out to give it water? Then should not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, be set free on the Sabbath day from what bound her?" When he said all this, all his opponents were humiliated, but the people were delighted with all the wonderful things he was doing. At that time, some Pharisees came to Jesus and said to him, "Leave this place and go somewhere else. Herod wants to kill you." Jesus replied, "Go tell that fox, I will keep on healing people today and tomorrow, and on the 3rd day I will reach my goal." Another mention of a 3rd day that the disciples won't understand completely until much, much later. Jesus then goes on to say, "In any case, I must press on today and tomorrow and the next day, for surely no prophet can die outside Jerusalem." Remember, he's heading towards Jerusalem right now. "Jerusalem," he says, "Jerusalem, you who kill the prophets and stone those sent to you by my Father. How often I have longed to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you were not willing. I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, 'Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.'" What happens next? Look for Bible Shorts 107, Luke chapter 15. Lost and Found.